Welcome to my Laugh and Learn Blab with Really Social. This is the Who's Who in social media, and who am I with but the Melody Jones of social media marketing. And how are you, Miss Melody?
I am doing well. How are you on this cold and snowy and blizzardy day here in Colorado?
I have a blanket on, I'm not going to lie. It is quite cold and snowy, and I love snow, so it's been fun. But of course, that just causes the whole city to go into ruckus. And I feel like we're getting our just desserts because we had like 60-degree weather when the East Coast was getting hammered. So we're doing good.
Somebody's bragging about blazing hot Florida. I'm going to do this. Don't write that.
I know. That's fine.
I won't do that.
That's fine, Jeff. You just be over in Florida, and it's okay.
Fine,
but
Anna Maria.
right, we can go snow skiing though anytime we please, and it's fantastic. So that's fine.
If you like winter sports, Colorado's a place to be, no doubt there.
That is very true.
Yeah, they get hurricanes. Yeah, we try not to have hurricanes.
I know.
But we do get tornadoes.
You get tired down there, but then you've got that to deal with. I can't move anywhere fast for hurricanes, so no bueno. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on with me today. As all social media marketers realize, our time is insanely valuable, so I appreciate you being on with me today.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive in. And I did preface a little bit, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of give me or give us and everybody watching your pitch about yourself, which is basically just tell us that little elevator spiel that you kind of synopsize about yourself. Introduce.
Okay. So now, my name is Melody Jones. I actually hail from Colorado. I'm a native, one of few left in the world, apparently, in the state of Colorado. And I am actually known as your social media aspirin. My job is to take away the pain of social media, and I do that for my clients in a variety of ways. One of the biggest ways I reduce and alleviate pain is by handling their social media for them. So I do management. I do a lot of management. And I also find myself doing quite a bit of one-on-one individual coaching, and I do it in person if I can do so here in Denver. But I have done some coaching online, and that does at least reduce the pain that people are feeling when it comes to social media. And so that's basically it. That's my main thing. I just help reduce that pain, or I take it away.
So I can't get over that, because it really is. I mean, that's a pain in the butt for a lot of business owners. I mean, how did you arrive at that being your thing?
My thing. Okay. So and I've talked about this with you and some other people here before, that I have a pretty plain Jane business name. And it's Social Media Management Services, LLC. That's it. I made it really just basic. That says pretty clearly what I do. But as I went on in my life and started working with a variety of clients, especially authors, which are one of my niches, I realized that all I heard from my poor dear clients was pain. The pain of, I don't want to spend the time doing it. The pain of, I don't want to learn it. Don't make me learn it. I'm sick of it. I don't want to know it. And I, as a writer, looked up the word aspirin, and it's free for use. It's no longer just a little brand name. You can just use it. So I'm like, totally, I'm social media aspirin. That's me. So just take an aspirin for let me be your aspirin purveyor. I will purvey you the social media aspirin.
Great. That's so great, because I mean, and frankly, I mean, that's great too that you have that business name. I mean, that exactly says what you do. That you're a solution for social media marketing. But I love that too, because instantly, I mean, anybody can relate. We're just talking about this off air. You have that ill or that pain you're having that day, and you just want to feel better. And
you do.
You're providing that service for people so they can feel better. Like, oh, good. I don't have to deal with it. It's all you. It's good.
Oh, no, give it to me. I'm your social media aspirin.
I love that.
And I have to shut down my virus scanner, which wants to come on right this very minute. There we go.
It needs your attention right now. It was trying to solve your pain.
Like, yes, it was.
Now, and Melody, I will confess that you and I haven't known each other that long. I first encountered you at Denver Startup Week, which was my second year going to it. It's a fantastic week-long smorgasbord of entrepreneurs and startups and thought leaders and everything. And which will lead me into asking you now, you aren't simply over your own business, but you're affiliated with a networking and professionals group called Colorado Women in Social Media. And by affiliated, I want you to expound on how you began that group.
So I am affiliated, and I'm affiliated because one day I was lonely and typing along at my computer by myself, as often I am, as we are in our world, and feeling dissatisfied very greatly with the networking opportunities out there. I don't particularly enjoy leads groups. They expect me to bring in leads, and I just don't have that type of business where I have enough running through. I'm not a brick and mortar with a lot running through where I can refer out. And so standard networking groups weren't really doing it for me. They just weren't. And as I was going about my business, I realized that I knew a few women in the world, my world here, that worked in social media, and that couldn't we get together and provide that relationship piece I'm missing because I'm no longer in an office environment. I have just me and my dogs in the office most of the time. Couldn't I have a group? Couldn't I make a group that was a little bit different in focus than other standard networking groups? And so that idea popped into my head at the end of, basically in the fall of 2014, and I threw out a couple feelers, and I got instant interest. Right away, boom, I was astounded by how quickly people wanted to join. And so I started by simply just throwing it out there and saying, hey, everybody that's interested, come on down. And that's how we began. So yeah, I'm the founder of that group. Mm-hmm.
How many did you start out with? I mean, obviously, yeah, I did that alone, so you had a few.
A few, yep. Actually several, because I asked the ones that I knew to just invite some other women that worked in the field, and there were several. The very first meeting probably had, at least 12 people, and it took a while to sort of figure out what direction we wanted to go, or if this idea was going to form and take shape and actually continue. And it became clear after a few meetings that people wanted to continue with the type of group I was shooting for. And so over time, we realized we needed our first little main rule was you have to be able to commit to the day and time for this group to work. And so that had the effect of causing a few women to have to leave just because their current, situation with their scheduling couldn't make it work. So we had some parents of young children and things were going on our meeting day and so forth. And so they kind of peeled off one by one. And so we ended up with basically a core group of 10 that we met several times and became close just over that time. 2 of those 10 that I call the founding members had to leave for various reasons. And so we were down to 8. So by the time you, Rachel, saw us present as a panel at Denver Startup Week, those are the core founding members of the group. Those are the 8 that started and stayed with us. 8 core founding members. And then as you know, we've had to work on growing since then. And so we're a capped group. We now have 13.
I think that's so great, and we'll delve a little more into kind of broader you and social media. But one last thought, it might not be the last thought, but
yes, last thought.
And for people who aren't familiar with social media, which is a lot of the clients that we deal with, I don't think they realize how broad the topic is. And I know we covered a little bit earlier today in the fact that with having even 8 people in the social media, the Colorado Women in Social Media group, you still are not going to have one person who knows the entire thing. So there's not really a whole lot of toe stepping. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's right. I can. So when the group began, it was more of a collaborative educational group for us. And then it became clear over time that we all had our little niches that we worked in, and we had different platforms we liked better and worked more with, and everybody had their own expertise. And we do have some crossover in the group. Sure, some of us take on clients that are in similar industries, but all of us have specialty areas, and that's what's kind of ended up happening. And in doing that, because we're a collaborative as a group, we're using the power of the group as a whole to then refer to individuals in the group. And so if one of us comes across a client or potential client and we realize we may not be the best fit, what's ended up happening is we are a referral source within our own group. And we may have one or even to other women who might be the best fit for that potential client. So we will refer out.
Right.
So it's not just a referral group, but it has ended up being, we have ended up being referral sources for each other, though that's not our primary goal.
Right. And I can speak to that too. I know I try to know as much as I can, but there are going to be areas that some of us are stronger in. And so I think that's so
that's
great.
Right.
The awesome collaboration occurring there, and just kind of the, hey, let's all scratch each other's back and give. It's so reflective of what social media should be.
Right. That's a good point.
To give and collaborate and be resources to each other and kind of crowdsource the whole thing. So I love that you have.
That's great, crowdsourcing. Yeah. Well, and I want to throw this out, and we can even talk more about the group later in depth too if you want to, but I just want to say we're very careful about who comes into the group, because our goal is to have very professional women who want to grow. That's what we're looking for. And we can have very beginner businesses. We do have a few that are more on the beginning end and some that are more well-established. But that isn't really the criteria. You have to have a passion for social media. That's primarily where you need to work. And so thusly, we are a referral-only group, because we expect that our members that are currently in the group sort of do the vetting for the group. Like, do you know this person? You cannot come into the group. It can't be an in and out like it is in other networking groups. Right. Because we want women who are serious and dedicated and able to commit the time. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. This may not be this may be the perfect woman for our group, but she can't commit the time right now. And it could be any number of reasons. Parenting is a big one. You know, kids first. We're like kids first, family first. That's what counts first.
That's right.
So we have pretty strong expectations of our members, and that everybody lives up to it, and that's why we do so well.
That's great. Well, cool. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to dive into you a bit more, and we probably circle back a little bit and refer to that and your business and all. But
sure.
I really do consider you a who's who in social media today, and not just for my own personal stuff, right? But
cool.
You've created something, not just Colorado in social media, but you've created that aspirin for people for their social media goals. Talk about like the 2 to 3 things that you really do through social media, through your service, that you think are the primary mainstays of what you contribute to that landscape.
I'll tell you what I contribute based on the feedback I get from clients.
Okay, great.
I know what I think I contribute, but then there's the clients that'll tell me, here's how you help me. And so the feedback I get is that I save them so much time in managing their social media, that is one of my primary focuses, is that I'm here to reduce the pain of committing the time to managing your social media effectively. And that includes the strategy part of it, every part of social media.
Yes.
And there's a lot to it. And so time is the number one thing. Secondly, there's the emotional pain of trying to keep up with the latest and greatest. We had that discussion earlier today at another blab. Even we have to rely on our social sisters sometimes to say, what is the latest? Because there's a lot to keep up with. So that's another way I mainly reduce pain for people, is I take on, because it's my job, I take on the burden, if you will, but it's not really a burden to me because I love social media. I think it's fun. I take on the aspect of learning and keeping up with the latest and greatest in every platform, and what is the best way I can represent my clients out there.
Right.
So those are really the top 2, and that's most of the feedback that I get from clients.
I think that's fantastic, and that takes up so much time. I don't know if you've encountered this too. I know I have, where once a client understands a little more about what you do and what you're bringing them, that they don't have to do anymore, they're like, oh,
right. They're so happy.
Oh.
And I'll tell you how it goes. I'll bring on a new client. We do a vetting process where we talk by phone, or I try to do like a go-to meeting or a Skype session so they can see me and I can see them, because I think it matters. We have to be able to connect. So there's a vetting process that goes on for both of us. I have to be the right fit for them as well. And once that part happens, we talk strategy. I kind of forgot where I was going with this. I got all caught up in the vetting. We talk strategy about what to do.
Yeah.
What were we? What was my main thing that I was talking about?
Like, how do you bring them on? Like, what kind of you?
How did I bring them on? Okay, yeah. Sorry, everybody. I got all wrapped up. So it's getting to know them and what their message is and who their target market is, and I guess the third point I can say that I really work very hard at is the personalized aspect of it. Everybody talks to me. They don't talk to other people I work with. They talk to me. I am the primary person. I'm the face of my business. I'm the one they talk to. I'm the one that develops the strategy with them. Nice. And I will occasionally have an admin person come in and help with maybe some of the logistics of getting some of the social media strategy out there. But I'm the one that helps and interacts with the client. And I'm the one that is there if there are issues or problems or kudos, whatever's happening, I'm the one. You know, so I take it very seriously that I'm the touch point in the company, and that's just, it's me and nobody else.
That's really good. That's really, and I think that shows so much that you care that they get that authentic experience. Because I mean, you're as a social media manager, you're going to assume their brand or their individual identity and act on their behalf. That's so important for them to then have that connection with you to say, well, you need to get me, and I need to get you, right? Absolutely.
It's a partnership all the way.
Yes.
Do not just throw some things at me as your social media manager in person and expect that I can be your voice. Just don't throw it at me and then leave. You know?
No, right?
But don't just go away. And in the beginning, I know where I was going. In the beginning of working with a client, what will end up happening, because it relates to one of the social media pain points that I address, is I will have their editorial calendar uploaded and going, and they're very on top of it in the very beginning. They're looking at every single thing I'm doing, and they're contacting me a lot in the beginning. And as time goes on, we develop that trust, and they see that I'm representing them appropriately, and they relax down. And that's where the pain relief comes, is that they realize I'm handling it professionally and in a way that they like, and they feel better. So there's a lot of interaction in the very beginning, and then we can all relax and it works out just fine, and we just keep in contact on a regular basis after that.
I'm going to ask you another question in a moment, but
okay.
On that line, I don't know if you've encountered clients who feel a little bit burned in the social media area, where they have in the past entrusted their management or consulting or whatever to a professional and have a very negative experience from that. Have you encountered that before? As you've walked through your clients and stuff?
Well, just here and there, maybe here and there I have it. That's not as common. A lot of who I work with, now that you say that, see, this is making me think. Many of the people I work with, because I have a very micro niche, and then I've branched out from that. The micro niche is I work with authors, so those who are published or working on being published. Because you should start before you're published, by the way.
Yes,
never
you should.
Build your is that they've never actually worked with people, a manager or a strategist before.
Right.
So it's been rare that I've had to go in and repair that. There's been a time or two maybe we've had to talk about it. So basically, here's the trick. You must go to your client and say, tell me what went wrong last time.
Yes.
What's your view on what happened? Let me hear exactly tell me everything. Don't hold anything back. Be angry, be uptight, be whatever it is. Be who you need to be and be how you are, and let me hear everything that went wrong. And then we work on how to address that. And I can tell you that sometimes it's just a matter of expectations. The client, and I run into this with authors a lot, the client thinks, the client, yes, we can. I'm not going to say that out loud, Social Biz King. But yes. So the client, it's often expectations of the client versus what the social media consultant or manager expects. And one of the expectations of authors is that they think I'm going to get out there and I'm going to sell a book straight off of Facebook, or I'm going to sell a book for them straight off of Twitter. And that is not the case. And they are disappointed to hear that. So what I know is if they've got somebody telling them, sure, I can help sell your books directly off of social media, I know they've been bamboozled, because that's not really how it works. So we work very strongly on the realities of what social media really is. Is it to sell your widget? A little bit. Sure, we're going to talk about your widget, whatever that is. But really, it's the other things that we know, which is building your brand, building your expertise, building your platform,
Right.
letting people interact with you, building your engagement with your fans. That's really what it's about. So often that's the disconnect, is expectations.
Agreed.
So,
I big old amen to all that stuff, because I love that you're talking about the reality of social media as
yes.
It is very much relational,
Yes.
not so much let me just jab pitches of you the whole time.
Right.
One thing I want to ask, so, and I like this question because it's going to make you get a little introspective here.
Okay.
You're the only you in the world, okay? So there's only one Melody Jones, and I want to find out what do you bring to the table that differentiates you from, again, those other social media marketers out there. There might be other people who are like, yeah, I work with authors out there, and that's my niche in social media. But what, in your opinion, do you bring to the table that makes you unique in what you offer to this whole landscape?
So when it comes to what I call my micro niche, once again, which is working with authors, and I do work with other creative types, but when it comes to authors, I am myself a published author. That means I know a few things about the publishing business. All right. I know and I'm from the self-publishing realm. I have many connections in self-publishing, in the self-publishing arena here in Denver. I can refer authors to editors and to graphics artists and to book layouts and to book shepherds and the people they need to be truly successful. And that's the difference I bring for authors, is that I have many connections, and I also have personal knowledge as to what it takes to write, to be an author, to self-publish. There's so much to it. And while any social media consultant or manager can talk to an author about what they need, I do understand it from the inside out. And so that's what's unique about me in that particular micro niche, is that I understand it from that perspective.
That's so valuable.
It is. Go ahead.
Oh, Joe, sure. I love that. I mean, because we can all come in and say, oh, I can help you with your book, and I can help you with this, or, even if you're like, some of our social sisters, they'll work with different industries and stuff. But when you actually have that hands-on experience yourself, and and all that connection, that just really adds to your value add for that client to help them get where they want to be.
It does. And when I'm able to speak to groups, it's often to groups of authors, the feedback I get is twofold, and I also hear that from individual clients. One is, I speak plainly. I don't use jargon. I just say, here's what it is. Here's what let me use some real words, and let me just describe it in terms that you can understand as a layperson how this concept works. And so that is the number one thing I hear from clients all over the place, is I actually have a faculty for that, or an aptitude for that, apparently. Secondly, humor makes all the difference. And let me tell you, I came home from my last speaking engagement. I spoke to some romance writers here in Denver, and I was dying laughing. And I came home and I told my husband, I said, guess how I was introduced? And he couldn't believe it. I was introduced as Little Miss Sunshine. Here's Little Miss Sunshine. She's going to come and tell us all about social media. And I'm dying laughing, because I would not call myself super sunshiny here in my home environment all the time. Am I funny? Yeah. Am I a ray of sunshine? Probably not every minute. And he died laughing. I'm like, well, you don't have to laugh that hard.
Reel it back.
Come on. So that you've got to be relatable. It helps to speak in terms people can understand. Don't use marketing jargon and lingo and all of that. And if you do, explain it. All right, just explain it. That's what you need to do. And be humorous about it. Be real, be authentic. People really enjoy that. It helps them to relax, and then they can hear the information and hear what you're trying to say better if they're more relaxed.
That's wonderful. Wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so this is this might not be difficult.
Okay.
What is your favorite social media platform, and why?
All right, so I know this isn't yours. I just happen to know from a previous conversation. My personal favorite, and it's because I have lots of real life friends on there, is Facebook. I can't help it. I love Facebook. Even my mom's on there. So I'm not a teenager, so I don't care if my mom's on there. I actually like that my mom's on there. And I have a friend, she's an author friend, and she's 82. She just published a book, 82. She looks 65.
Wow.
who said, "Oh my God," she's from New York. "Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You made me a Facebook addict, and I blame you."
That's awesome.
So I just so enjoy being able to work with all generations on Facebook, and it's skewing older, teens and even some early 20s don't really care for it, but it's my favorite from a personal perspective. I find that I do better on that. And part of that is I'm visual.
Yes.
And for me, I like the visual aspect of Facebook. I'm a creative person, and so just it helps me and it's a slower pace. Now, that being said, the truth is for authors, Twitter is often one of the best places to connect with readers and other authors is Twitter. Is it my very super favorite? No, I'm going to say it's not. Is it where I spend most of my time? Yes.
Yes. Well,
Professional.
You're putting your eggs in a good basket because based on the news we've been hearing about Facebook, even in just the last 2 weeks, I think they're going to take over the planet. I'm not lying.
They're pretty big. Gorilla. I call them the big gorilla on the block. You probably heard me say that at Denver Startup. They had me talk about Facebook. They're the big gorilla on the block. They still are. They have 1 billion users or something crazy worldwide.
They are.
They're there.
Yeah, that was crazy. And groups have gone nuts. And then, and I know you just played with it for iPhone users. Now you have Facebook Live Video, and that's just gonna blow up. So I will not judge you for loving Facebook. I think
Thank you.
Yes, but you've chosen well. You've chosen wisely.
I try.
Yes. Well, let me ask this, and this might get a little more into kind of how you evolved into your current profession and business. But why did you pick social media? Why was that? Hey, I'm gonna work in this and make this my livelihood.
Well, it picked me. It pretty much picked me. It came into. I was in a lineup. It said, "You come with me." Here's how it happened. I was in and we can talk about that a little bit. I was in an entirely different career track. That was not me being in my own business. And so I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I did not mean to be here. And one day I had to leave my former career path. And I was running around in author and writer circles. And it the universe sometimes have to take a big 2x4 and hit me on the head with it. Boom, boom. Pay attention. And I won a writing class with my current writing coach one day. And I said to her, "Can I get a picture of you and I? I'm going to put it on my Facebook page." And she said, she got this look on her face, and I was watching her, and I could see the bell. It was like a bell went off. And she said, "Oh, Facebook, I could really use help with that." Well, I hadn't done it formally for anybody before. And I went, well. So I stood there, and I'm like, "Now, Melody, don't be cautious." Because see, unlike you, I'm not really a go for broke person. I'm very cautious. And so caution in its extreme form can cause you not to move forward. And so let's not do that. So I stood there with all of this rolling. Hello. I said, I can help you with that. And over time, so we did a trade. I started, don't do a trade now. I wouldn't do a trade now, but I started there because most of it starts somewhere. I started as a trade with my writing coach, and I just jumped into the Facebook world because I realized at that point that I had an affinity for it, that I really enjoyed it, that I loved it, and that I was a natural at it. I could see that was the case, and that's where I got started. So, and then by virtue of running around in author and writer groups, I was able to say to those people who were whining, and I'm going to say, I'm calling you out, authors, whining about the social media, hey, I can help you. And so it just grew from there. And I finally made it official. I realized I had to do real stuff and be business and all that one day. And so I registered my business, I think in 2011. So I've established a long time. I've been established a long time. Yeah, I have been. And it's just mostly been with authors to begin with. Now, I'm happy to say I do work with solopreneurs are my favorite. And I think it's because in almost any industry except for financial, I'm not thrilled with financial, but they're my favorite because they have to be creative and they have to think outside the box. And I love creative people. So I really gravitate to those that are on the creative side. And I gravitate to people that think more in metaphysical terms. I can't help it. So that's like an interest of mine. And so I found that I really that really helps with who I like to work with. And so they may be in most any other industry, but if I see that they're a solopreneur and they're a creative person and how they talk, that's who I'm drawn to. So I work with some people that are not authors necessarily, but they are creative solopreneurs, and I really enjoy it. So it's fun.
That is very well, and it's so stimulating because usually you're talking to some very energetic people, even if they're not that creative. They're like, "Go, go, 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 go!" And that can.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Yep. Did I answer your question? I might have gotten off track. I was talking.
Beautiful, darling. Now, this one will be good. I hope this is awesome. Because I just love some of these questions because I love learning what makes you all tick. It's fun. But what? And I want you to take me literally on this. What makes you jump and yell, wahoo, in your day? And it could be internal. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, inside, wahoo. But if you're just like, oh, major day, what makes you do that? What brings you to that point?
I've often said I would be the worst game show contestant because I don't jump up and down on the outside. So you're right. It would have to be woohoo on the inside. Anytime, what makes me happy on a daily basis, I've got to say it's that nobody else is my boss. That's the truth. Woo! I don't do well with other bosses. I don't. I consider myself a fairly likable person, right? But by the time I'm done working in an office for somebody else, I don't know if that's the case. And it's because I'm really unhappy being tied to somebody else's desk. Yes. So honestly, on a daily basis, I have a lot of gratitude that I have found my niche, that I have found a place where my particular set of skills are useful, and that I can continue learning, and I can connect with lovely people like you in the business, and I get to find clients that are just right for me. And I don't take every client that comes down the pike. I take the ones I know I can work with really well, that can benefit from who I am and where I come from. But every single day I jump up and down on the inside, only on the inside, that nobody else is my boss.
Yes.
I'm the boss. So there you go.
Boss. That is so gratifying. And I mean, I've definitely been in, I had actually tried, just brief aside, I had tried my own business a long time ago. It was not a good time, and it was not a good mentality for me to be there. And I'd gone back to corporate, and I think you do. Sometimes you just hit that point in your life. You're like, I'm done with this. I know what I need to know, and what I don't know, I will learn, and I'm open to learning. Yes. You arrive to that point. So that's great. Right. Yes.
And I will say I come from government. I actually come from government and not corporate.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I think that's a unique perspective unto itself too. So not so much private sector, but you were like, oh, I'm in public service pretty much. Yes,
I was for 20 years. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
We might have to blab about that. We'll have to have another blab topic. Let's talk public sector versus private sector. Let's go. Well,
I feel your pain. I craft happiness. Your husband isn't gov. So's mine, which is why he's home on a snow day today, because they're his government clothes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. So my dad has worked in government. He worked from the moment he graduated college to the day he retired, and he would call me every day, every federal holiday. Hi, how's it going? Da da da. I'm like, I'm at work. What's going on? He's like, oh,
I'm in corporate. I don't get government holidays.
Yeah, and every time he's like, oh, do you not have today off? And I was like, you know this. What is going on?
I'll tell you what I keep doing, okay? I just decided I'm going to take all government holidays off still. So I do.
Yes.
I take if there's a government holiday, baby, I have it off. Because if I didn't do that, and I'm sure you can relate, I would never have time off. So I stick to that schedule. Yes, you've got to do it. You've got to do it.
Fantastic. Well,
that means I have one coming up. Let me look. Oh, yeah, see, I have President's Day. I'm taking that off, just for the record. Anyway, but we're going to say.
I won't bother you.
Thank you.
Let's flip the coin. So we talked about what makes you go wahoo. What makes you crazy? Like you want to break down that thing behind you, that little barrier, and you're just like, I want to go bash around. What makes you crazy?
There's a few things, but here's the one I can say safely online on a blab that will live forever, and that is, in the Twitter world, what drives me crazy is auto DMs, and it's because I get them every day, and they come across as disingenuous. Now, there's a bigger word, I know, but that's just... They're so not authentic. You can tell that they're automated, and they clutter up my DM inbox. Not that I care too much, but it makes it so I feel like I have to pay attention just a little, just in case it's not a canned response. And usually that doesn't pay off. It is a canned response. So that's what drives me crazy in the social media world is quit sending those. I don't see the use to those. They never make me take action. Do they ever make you take action?
That's right. Be like a personal question, like, hey, I want to go get coffee with you. And be like, oh my God, totally. Let's go have some coffee. Yes. Why didn't you tweet that? Because obviously I could have.
Right, just do it live. Just do it live. Now, occasionally I've had some DM conversations, but do it live. Those because we're not having anything that you can't. People can know that I want to go drink coffee. And people do know that about me. I'm a coffee addict. I think we know that. I think that's out there.
Right. That's right.
So,
well, and I mean, unless you're sharing a social security number or, you know, your address, it's like, then, you know, let's go text or something. I don't understand why that's all like, oh, let me DM you. It's like, now I did have, so self-disclosure, I had a typo in my Twitter header image, which I just had and girl, and I actually have my DMs turned on to where even if you're not following me or I'm not following you, you can DM me. But she tweeted at me and just told me, hey, I just noticed this. I'm sorry. But she was, you know, I'm like, well, cool. Thanks. That's
Thank you.
You're like telling me I have broccoli in my teeth. That's good. So might as well. I mean, I'll fix it. Full transparency. You know, we're all people.
Phoenix tears. If I wanted to talk to something auto or a robot, I would call my insurance company or Siri.
That's awesome. Like Siri.
There are certain people that
auto DMs.
You can call certain companies and talk to somebody in India. We know that.
Yes,
it's a way to travel. It could be a way to travel. You could see it that way.
That's right. Well, let's talk about because you've attained this point of your life where you're, you know, even like today, you're giving your thoughts and you're helping people, others, you know, who are trying to either be in social media or just trying to be professional, help them be successful. Can you talk about any idols or mentors in your life that have helped you achieve this point in your life that have really been that influence for you?
I can say, so currently there's a man online whose content I read religiously. His name is Mark Schaefer. Mm-hmm. And it might be Schaefer Marketing Solutions, maybe his plain Jane name, kind of like mine. But he is one of the ones I would call a thought leader. I think the term thought leader is overused, quite frankly. Yes. But he really is. He's able to sort of see ahead. And so he is one of the people I go to learn a new way of thinking in the social media marketing world. So he is one of the people I see as being, I don't know if we're really an idol, but he certainly does influence me greatly. And I'll just fess up some truth right now. The first 2 years in my business, I wasn't that focused on building business. Yeah. I had a few clients. So for the first 2 years, I didn't really work on the business end of it. It just kind of, we had some things going on in my family, cancer and some things like that. A couple of deaths on my wonderful mother-in-law and my father-in-law both, and it all happened right about that time. And so if I got a referral my way, I worked with that client, but I didn't work on the business end. When the time came to work on the business end, I then had to reach out to people that knew some things in business, and some of them are in our group, which is Colorado Women in Social Media. And these days, what really keeps me going and inspired is every single person in our group, CWSM, does inspire me in their own way. If nothing else, they make me to get back in here and do it again. You know, get back in there and do it. Try it again. Get back in there and do your blogging, Melody. If they can do it, you can do it. So it's almost like leading by example in the group, is to watching and being inspired by what are these women, and these are everyday women just like me, doing on a daily basis to grow their businesses and to really become adept at the business end of things and social media. And so honestly, this group of women really inspires me truly. It's not even a platitude. I actually mean it and everything. I'm jumping up and down on the inside. You just can't tell about my group. These awesome. Are the women that they do it for me. They do. I might not be on Blab without them. I'm not kidding about that. So somebody in the group, might have been Erin. I'm not sure she's on Socially Powered. Yes. Somebody in the group was on Blab. I'm like, what's that? Got on and thought, okay, I'm just going to jump in there. I'm going to not be cautious, Melody. I'm going to be bold, Melody. And that's what I did. Yes. So
I love
my
that.
Answers.
That's a great answer. And I appreciate that too, because I think the term mentor too, or even, you know, and even if it, you know, you don't have to pigeonhole into that title either, but you ask people, well, who's your mentor? And they're like, oh my gosh, you think, you know, you got to come with someone like Yoda. And it's like, no, it could just be someone who is that
Love
person.
Yoda.
And who doesn't, right? But it's like, it could be someone in that person in your life who's just giving that little bit of, prompting in one particular area. And that's enough to help you as an overall person. I think that's great that you have that good circle of different resources around you to be able to do that for you. That's awesome.
Keeps me going. Keeps me honest.
Well, let's as we're talking about transparency, would you have done anything differently in your past to get where you are now? Is there anything you regret that you wish you had?
I don't know about regrets. I might have reconfigured how I handled my business from the start. I might have been a little bit more forward thinking in the business part of it, honestly, in the beginning, because I could be quite a bit farther along had I really paid attention to the business end of things in the first 2 years. But you have to realize I came from a service industry. I was a social worker for 20 years. I worked with at-risk youth in the foster care system for 20 years. That's a way different mindset. So I did not come into the business world as somebody who's going to be in business and I better have a business plan and what are my goals and did I meet them? I did none of that. And so if I were to maybe reconfigure anything, it might be just to sort of realize sooner that that's the way I needed to go. Otherwise, the truth is with the way things have gone in my life, they had to go that way for me to be here, honestly. Right. Yeah, I had to really be in a position in my former career that I had to leave. Mm-hmm. The burnout was high. I had to go.
Right.
I might have just stuck with it. I might have just stayed in it because, by then you have the salary higher than other people coming in and you have the benefits and you have the seniority and you're earning all the extra hours and things with vacation. It was very hard for me to let go of that. I had a very hard time with it. And so circumstances rose up. I think the universe stepped in and said, oh, you're leaving. You've got to leave. Time to go, and we will basically take our big universal foot and kick you in the butt and make you leave. And that's what ended up happening. And if that hadn't happened, I don't know where I'd be today, but I would be highly unhappy because, again, it's tied to somebody else's desk.
Right.
And I couldn't be the creative, free-thinking soul I am, where I get things done in my own way, at my own speed, in my own time, which they did not appreciate.
That's right.
So things had to happen the way they did for me to be here, honestly. So that's not much. I wouldn't change much.
Nice. Well, what on the other side of that, what are you completely glad you did that now made a huge difference for you?
Well, I'm glad I actually finally realized this was a real business. That's what I did. There came a day where I said, wait a minute, I have to be a real business person and I need to think from a business mindset. Service mindset I've got down pat. Spent all my life doing service. And so I provide service and I was in that mindset already. I had to become a person who was a business mindset person. And so there was a day I had to decide that. And I remember making that decision that I needed to pursue the business end and learn some things on that end of it.
Yep.
And that was a pivotal Yahoo moment for me.
Yahoo.
And then my group was the next one. Thank God I did that because now I have a built-in support system and I love it.
That is great. I'm very glad you did that too.
Because here we are.
Here we are. All right, let's do the fun questions.
Okay, fun questions. I'm all for it.
And anyone who is watching, if you have a question that, again, not too invasive or too personal, but if you have a question for Melody, you can type it, do /Q over in the sidebar, and then type your question, and we'll try to tackle them. But I want to get into some fun stuff because these are fun.
Okay.
If a movie were to be made about Melody Jones, who would you select to play you and why? And the caveat to this is the person doesn't have to look like you. It's just someone, it could be well-known actor or obscure, but someone you think they would totally get my character.
Oh, that's so easy. Melissa McCarthy.
Yes, I could totally see
Hands down.
She
doesn't even have to be blonde. She's just so funny. And she's we're both bigger girls. And so we have to move the world a little bit differently because of that. We do have some challenges as bigger women, honestly. And I am so empowered and impressed with her. She started her own clothing line recently.
Oh,
Did you know, for big girls like me? And I just love that. I just love that she's an advocate for body positivity and size acceptance and things along that line. Plus, she's super funny. And I think she and I would be best friends. If I ever had the chance to be best friends with her, I would be. So she's the one I would ask.
I could totally see that. I think that's a fabulous answer.
Thank you.
Before we get another fun one, do you want to tackle J.S. Gilbert's question about Twitter? Now, you kind of talked earlier, Facebook's your mainstay, but if you want, we can answer that question.
What are your goals for Twitter, and what is Twitter doing? What is your Twitter account doing for you? For me personally, Gilbertism, I see, is it Gilbert? For me personally, J.S. Gilbert, got it. What it does for me, or what it's done for me, is it's connected me with other people in my field, actually, for me personally. So I find that I'm able to reach out and connect with those that do marketing and social media. So just that connection and being able to sort of just have that conversation on Twitter, it's easy to reach out. Twitter makes it super easy. It's really the only platform I know that you can easily reach out to those of an influencer nature, or those that would have a bigger name than you, and actually connect and get a response. In the social media realm, I've actually connected with Mari Smith. Now, for those of you that don't know who she is, she's the guru. The original guru for Facebook is Mari Smith. Mari like Ferrari. She's always funny how she says, "Say my name, Mari like Ferrari." And so Twitter is super valuable to me for those reasons, is I can reach out to any person on the planet that I want to, and I can often get a response. And so that's the value I have in it. That's what it does for me. Makes it easier to connect.
That's a very good answer. Yeah, I actually, I think I was watching Mythbusters with my family, and I tweeted a picture of them and just all laughing at something. And I tweeted it at Adam Savage, and he liked it. And I was like, Adam Savage,
see?
That was so cool. So
it is so fun when it's so fun when somebody notices you, and that it's maybe in an influencer ranking, like that, or just a known, what I want to call a known person or a famous person. It's so fun when they notice.
Oh my gosh, it's totally like, oh my god, I touched them. Oh, it's amazing. All right.
Yeah, Tumblr and Instagram. Well, I'm just noticing Phoenix Tears. Phoenix Tears, well, I'm going to hover. What is your name? We still don't know. I'm going to call you Phoenix.
Phoenix.
You get better luck with Instagram and Tumblr from celebrities. Yeah, I think maybe it just matters what you relate to as well. So if Tumblr is something you relate to, not everybody uses it. There's a very specific set of people, a demographic that uses Tumblr for sure. So I think it just relates to what you resonate with. If you resonate with a platform, that resonates out to the people you want to touch and interact with. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. And actually, before we keep going, Ace Raps, who's on there, they were on our earlier blab.
Yes.
How can we use Twitter safely and maneuver it? And I think, do you just mean so you're not encountering cruelty on Twitter? Because that definitely is a real thing, and people can be very bully on just about any social media platform, actually.
Okay.
But
So we know. Well, what we know, Rock. Ace Raps is Rock. Okay. Let me hover over that so I can get a name.
That's right.
Yes. The truth on Twitter, and I'm just going to be really, really upfront about this, okay? Bullying happens on Twitter. Yep. And it is tough to get Twitter to do much about it. You have a way to report that, but it takes them a long time to sort of do anything about that. So your best thing is to block people that are harassing you. There's a way to do that. Block them. Now, just know they may sprout back up in another account if they're really intent on causing you harm. They still pop up. So your next best thing on Twitter and any platform, and Rachel will echo me on this, I'm sure, and that is just to ignore the haters. You just have to ignore them. Don't feed the trolls. You've heard that for years. It's the same thing on Twitter and on any kind of social media. And the unfortunate truth is there's only so much we can do to protect ourselves from the haters out there, and they're out there. And I don't know. I've blocked some people. Rachel, have you done that? Because, I don't need that.
I have. I've always tried to. Again, I'm coming from a point where I'm like, I'll not block them. I'm like, well, I just ignore you. But fortunately, one thing that's worked for me, and hopefully this will be some advice maybe to take into account, if you follow good accounts, it's going to be, I mean, someone would intentionally have to come after you and your handle, mention you to make sure they're saying some crap about you. But if you're following good people, then you're going to get good people. And hopefully they're also, I mean, and I've even today unfollowed some people where I'm like, you know, negative, everything's negative. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be real about stuff, but I'm like, I don't need to see that at my feed. So you go be you, I'll go be me, and we'll have our own circles. And so I think that would be what I would just advise. Just try to find the goodies. They're out there. There's some really positive, awesome, motivational people out there that will speak life into you through 140 characters or less. So find them.
And there are entire communities, and you just need to use Twitter as a search function. There are entire communities that work in the special needs arena. Tons of people. You need to, it is your job, okay, to go out and find those communities and connect with them. And I am telling you, they will embrace you because they understand where you are with you and your son. They understand what you're dealing with because that is their community. So seek them out, follow them, interact with their tweets, and build a community that way. And they will also kind of come in and be sort of your protectors in a way. You can, if you're getting bullied in some way, you can gather in the community that you've created and say, hey, can you help me by reporting this person? I've seen that work for other accounts. So that's my suggestion to you.
And I know, so, and Rock, also just add one more question too about lists.
Okay.
How do we use the list?
Yes, well, okay. Lists. I recommend Robert's 22 tips for Facebook. Okay, so we'll start with the lists first. Okay, so for every client and for myself that I work with on Twitter, I start from the very beginning of managing that account by establishing lists with certain categories. And so when I'm working with authors, we want to connect with other authors because there's this great community out there, interactive community of authors tweet authors scratch each other's backs. So I have many a list that says authors and writers both. And as I'm following people, I add them into the lists that are appropriate right then and there. You have to do it right then and there. List building on Twitter is a diligent effort, but it does pay off because you can just go click on that list and see only what those people are saying. So lists can really help you sort of target who it is you want to talk to. And people love to go see what list you put them in. You hope they return the favor and you hope it's a favorable list.
Right.
You don't want the list to say, never talk to this girl. You hope that they say, hey, love her, or, so listing is just a great way to sort of get people to also notice you, because people notice when you put them on a list. They know that you've done that. They get the notification. And so it's another way to sort of reach out. So lists, I think, have a lot of uses. What about you, Rachel? What's been your experience? You're a big Twitter user, bigger than me.
I love lists. I think that to me, I liken it to in LinkedIn when, I mean, it's a little different, but on LinkedIn, when you go visit someone's profile and they can see that you visited, so it's almost like saying, ooh, I just paid attention to you, I like you. But lists are invaluable. If you're following a lot of people, and I think I'm following almost 1,000 people, I'm not going to be able to see every tweet. But
No, you can't.
I need to, you know what? I need to go spend 5 minutes. I only want to look at people talking about social media. So I have a list for that. I might have a list that's journalists or news sources. So I'll be like, well, I need my news for the day. I'm going to go to that list. So lists will save your life when it comes to trying to be like, well, I need to go catch up on Twitter. Good luck. Go ahead to your lists. Make some lists and get the people on them, and then you're not going to be stuck in your, oh my gosh, where are they all?
That's right. It's over. Because Twitter, the truth about Twitter is it is overwhelming. The number of people on it, and the more you follow and the more follow you, the harder it is to sort of keep up. So you've got to list people. I have a list of social media influencers that I see as influencers that I stick in a list, and then I call up that list and I can see what they're talking about that day, and that's how I keep my own education up in the social media realm. So that's another great way it's a way to educate yourself and sort of keep up in your industry. You can make an industry specific list. I suggest doing that for sure.
Totally. Well, I'm going to see if anyone else has more questions. We have a few more minutes, but let's say I gave you an unlimited budget for one day, and I want to know, what would you go try to pack in for that one day when you had unlimited funds to use?
Unlimited funds to do anything I wanted at all? Anything? It doesn't have to be in social media?
Anything.
I would take myself to French Polynesia.
Ooh,
that's where I want to go. It just looks beautiful. It has all those like cabins on stilts in this beautiful blue ocean. That's where I want to go. So that's where I would go. That's what I would do. I go to French Polynesia and I take however many people I could afford to take. Come with me.
Ooh, yay! I'm going. Like, sweet. I like that answer. I like it. And then you could just kind of do whatever you want. Just have that day. Be like,
yeah.
Oh. Love it.
See, she would just buy crafts. Well, you can't see this behind me. You can't see this room. I shudder to think how many thousands of dollars worth of craft supplies and art supplies I have behind me here. But yeah. Whatever I have left over, craft shopping, absolutely.
If you ever send her a bag of wine corks, they're getting put. Those things will be used in many ways. Yes. I am so. I am not crafty, and I know you are. And I'm like, amazing. I love it.
Well, that's I don't have kids, therefore I craft. What can I say? I craft and I own dogs.
I had aspirations at one point to be like, I'm going to do crafts. No, that's not happening. All right, well, let's talk about that kind of wannabe aspect. If you could pick one power or talent that you don't have, that you would like to have, what would you want to be added to your overall awesomeness?
Singing.
Aw, I love it.
Now, I come from a musical family. Melody is my name. My parents sing and they play instruments. They're retired. They're totally retired. My mom plays a symphony. My dad plays down at the senior center on his guitar. They're very musical. Do you think I am musical at all? I try. I got piano lessons. Here's my joke. I can't sing, but I do, because I grew up in a singing family. So we sing with abandon, and that's what they do. But I love the voice, and I love all these singing shows. And I am like, please God, next time I come, can I please have a singing voice? So I want to sing. That's true. That's it. That's my deep dark secret. I want to be able to sing.
I think that's fantastic. My husband's got his two uncles, and his dad all just are beautiful baritones. You can't carry a tune, and it's just like, wow, just skip the generation. I'm sorry. Auto-tune.
But I sing auto. But I sing with abandon anyway.
Today, I'm like,
I love that.
That's actually true. That's actually a true thing.
Oh my goodness.
Now, are you well versed in superheroes at all in the superhero universe?
Not as much as you are. I know that's more your thing. I don't know. I saw that question of like superhero.
Now, it doesn't
know.
Maybe just pick a famous person in history, or just someone even today. If there's somebody you could be because you're just like, they're amazing. I love them.
You know who's amazing in today's world, and I don't know if he's a superhero, is Sir Richard Branson.
Oh, he is amazing.
Isn't he amazing? He just goes with abandon to do things. He's like, yeah, I'll do some space flight because I can. Okay.
And he's like
a rocket.
He's everywhere, and he talks to everybody. He's like, yeah, I'm all over the ditch space. I can do this. That's amazing.
Yeah. I know. He's a real person who's done great things. I guess my admiration for others or those who are bolder than I am, it's taken me a very long time. I have teased all of you about this before. I'm actually very much an introvert. You wouldn't know it on here because I call myself an extroverted introvert. And the truth is I err on the side of caution so much that it's held me back in life. Yep. And I have had to really be very conscious about taking those bolder actions than I would have taken in another lifetime. And so when I look at people like Sir Richard Branson and Tony Robbins and some of these people that, Mari Smith and some of these people that just did it. They just went out there and they did it. And they tried things that didn't work and they were unfazed by that. I'm always impressed with people that take bold action. And that could include any number of superheroes. You have to take bold action and you might fail, but you might not. And so that's who I admire, is those people that have those qualities.
I love that too. I like seeing those quotes that are like, you're never going to know if you don't make it, if you don't even try. I mean, you just sit there, okay, well, same old today. Yep. I have one last question for you with 2 minutes.
Okay.
What is your favorite spoil treat? Like you want to get spoiled, pampered, what is it?
Honestly, I have to default to ice cream or a massage. How about a massage while eating ice cream?
I think that's
those would be my two favorite things. And I love Ben and Jerry's. I just do. love them. I should meet them.
You should do social media for them. Would that not be amazing?
I should. Oh, yes, because I'm like, hey, I'm a raving fan.
I just thought of another question. One last question.
Okay.
So if you could pick anyone you could do social media for, like you'd manage them, what would you do? Who would you pick? And it could be Ben and Jerry.
Oh my gosh. It could be Ben and Jerry. Well, I'm a fan. I'm like, it'd be like fan fiction is. It'd be like fan. I could get in there and be their raving fan. Who could I do it for? You know, there are some people, honestly, there are some well-known psychic people that I dearly love to watch, and ghost hunters that I love to watch. I'm sorry, I'm letting out an interest area of mine, which is the paranormal. Way before it was the thing on TV, from when I was a kid, yes. Yeah. So if I could manage, I don't know, the ghost hunters or Ghost Adventures crew, that'd be super fun to me. That would be fun. Yeah.
Love it.
Somebody says Channing Tatum. Yeah. Well,
and I bet. You know, I'm jealous of is whoever does Robert Downey Jr.'s social media. I'm very jealous of them. They kick it.
Yes.
They do fantastic. They do a fantastic job. I love them.
You know who else does a good job is Dwayne Johnson's The Rock's social media is well done too.
Oh,
so whoever does those two, but whoever does Robert Downey Jr. has a sense of humor, and he allows it. Yes. He allows that to happen, and he's able to kind of make fun of himself, and it's fantastic. Now, that is engaging social media. And the reason I like Dwayne Johnson is he is so genuine and authentic and has this gorgeous smile. You know, he's just so approachable. I love what he does, too. So if anybody wants to watch any two celebrity-level people, we would say Robert Downey Jr. and Dwayne Johnson. That's the two I watch.
They are in there. That is totally awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. What a whirlwind of discovering you for the whole hour, Melody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, I know. And Daryl's saying, look at our map. We had a ton of people come in here from all over the country. And Daryl.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, and even
love Daryl.
So that's awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your life with us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thanks. Yeah, Daryl, I am a believer. What can I do? I can't. Yeah, I am. I am a believer in the paranormal. I am. Paranormal, metaphysical stuff. Love that stuff. So now you know. That's my authentic stuff. We'll have to talk. Love to talk to you, Daryl. I think I know Daryl because Daryl came into stuff because of you. So I have Rachel to thank. I think he was your groupie first. Were you Rachel's groupie first, Daryl? Because now he's mine too. And so nanner to you, Rachel. I have Daryl too now.
Daryl likes
fantastic.
All the cool people, and I know there's more people than just myself. So he's welcome to bring it. And Tara, that's right. The truth is still out there. It's out there.
The X-Files. Yes! I'm so excited.
I know. I have to watch episode 3. I haven't watched it yet. And it was, they're back. It's so amazing. Okay. We could go on.
I know. We're going to keep talking. Can I just say one more thing? I know we've got to go, but I just want to tell you thank you because I have to tell you, and I told you this earlier, but I'm going to tell you on this blab too. I am usually the interviewer. I'm not often the interviewee. And to have this opportunity to talk about me and just me and all about the things that are in my life and the things that interest me has been fantastic and just a breath of fresh air. And I thank you so much for considering me a who's who in social media and having me on. I have just enjoyed myself so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Of course.
I feel like everyone should get a chance to be interviewed. I don't care who you are.
Yes.
Because you offer something extra to the space we live in called planet Earth. And I think that it's amazing the space that you fill. And I'm so honored that you came on my show. And
thank you so much.
I look forward to seeing you again soon because you got now. I'll let you last little thing you can do, which we'll just keep going.
Okay. Sure.
When is your next blab appearance so people can know?
Okay. So I do have a blab show I call Blabbing Social with Melody, where all I talk about with my guests are all things social media and marketing related. There goes your groupie, Daryl. Thank you. Right. And it comes on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And my guest this Thursday, which is the 4th, is Erin Sell of Socially Powered. And we're going to talk Facebook ads and how to convert to your website to your website. And I actually could learn more about that on the Facebook ad side. There's so much to know. And so Erin's going to come on and talk with us. So just follow me on Blab and take a look at my, just like you do on Rachel here, take a look at my scheduled Blabs and subscribe. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday. It's very exciting. I'm very excited to talk about that. FB. And she's saying she can't wait either. So thanks, Erin, for being involved today too. Yay!
Yeah, And thank you to everybody who did engage in the sidebar. That makes Blab happen, and you guys need to keep blabbing, because that's how we all engage with each other. But Melody, I bid you farewell.
Yes.
I hope you stay
warm. Thank you.
And farewell to everyone else. And
thank you.
Also follow us on Blab. I'll have this on my website too, and we will catch you in the next Blab. And have a lovely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.